Hi, everyone. So first, thank you for joining. I saw the list of participants and I personally know a few of you. So thank you for the journey that you took us, Ayyeka, from we first arrived to the US in 2015 or maybe late 14. And we literally in a rabbit hole and we're making an amazing journey. So a lot of it is because of you. I saw some names that I know for a few years now. And I can tell from a personal perspective, myself and my co-founder, my partner, Yair, started Ayyeka in 2011. And we had completely no connection to the water and wastewater market or infrastructure. Like the only reason we knew water is because we use them and wastewater because we use the infrastructure. But year after year or meeting after meeting, we uncovered a great scope of two things or three things. A, fascinating people with fascinating stories, with fascinating experience. B, amazing technologies, not our technology. We are in the digital area, digital part of the infrastructure, but amazing civil infrastructure, mechanical infrastructure that is being built and maintained 24/7 and extended over time. And three, amazing set of challenges that the current operators and owners of the network are facing. To name a few that, on the top of my mind is first, compliance. It is growing bigger and bigger. Not only in the US, but on a global scale. Ayyeka is also operating in Europe and in Asia. And it's a common theme that the regulation is, or the compliance requirements is growing. But take compliance and connect it with, let's call it global phenomena such as urbanization and climate changes, and with the fact that the majority of the assets are still disconnected. And for us, Ayyeka, those unique set of challenges is creating a fascinating opportunity to present a different way of thinking and how to approach those type of challenges. Because as recall, we are not, me personally, Ariel is not from this background and don't have like 30 years of water engineering behind me. I do have other expertise. And typically when I speak with people about wastewater and water, and I'm from the high-tech ecosystem, they ask, but they only build stuff, right? This is what they do. And I said, yes, it's called gray infrastructure. And you here see some pictures, and most of you probably know what gray infrastructure is. A lot of dollars are being spent on yearly cycles. You build better treatment plant, more extended pipes, you rebuild the network again and again. And this is how people perceive the wastewater industry. And when we tell them that in Ayyeka, we are actually doing IoT, Internet of Things, and we are connecting assets, and people doesn't really understand. We're talking with common individuals in the high-tech industry. They don't understand what we are really doing. And we say, yes, it sounds simple to add a smartphone capability to a field asset that doesn't have any power supply and it's buried 3 feet underground. But the challenges are great and the technology is moving forward. And I would like to take a few minutes following Isaac's general presentation to talk about what Ayyeka is heading toward, or what we heard from the market and where we are facing. And I would like to create this opportunity. And I know in webinar it's very hard to create interaction with you. So answering question in webinar it is challenging. But maybe following the webinar, I will be more than happy to have connection with you and hear what you want to see in the market, what you think is missing, how you think Ayyeka fits, or even more importantly, what we don't do currently that is need to be done. But I will take the opportunity and talk about two major things that we are currently doing in Ayyeka. And remember, we are a technology company, so the 50% of Ayyeka efforts and resources are put toward technology. And it comes in two aspects. The first thing that we've been asked, and thank you, John, if you are still on the call here, for triggering this thought in Ayyeka, is, okay, so you monitor the wastewater, the CSO, or the combined sewage, or the levels on the flow, but now what? Meaning, so there is a problem. Can you help us in doing something? We're looking for a solution, not a component. And then, by complete chance, obviously, we received some inquiry from a company in South Korea that told us that their expertise is remote controlled gates. And I receive many of those inquiries almost on a weekly or daily basis. Different solutions is approaching us. But I did something I don't do typically, and I sent this a video clip similar to this to John, to one of the colleagues in Cincinnati. And I remember like 5 minutes after I sent him the link, he said, I want the gate in minute 34 seconds in the video clip. This is the gate, by the way. Now you see the gate that is installed now in Cincinnati. And then he introduced me to because think about Ayyeka is monitoring, right? Remote monitoring. And then introduced me to the world of remote control, of the need that is being developed to literally control those infrastructure in real time, meaning to take proactive measures in the manholes, in the wastewater sites, in the remote sites, by opening and closing different parts of the network. So Cincinnati is doing this in a big scale. And the Korean company that now we are partnering with that have developed those remote gates is doing it in a smaller scale. But the main benefit of closing the loop, what is called close the control loop with the gates, is the ability to control in real time the overflow conditions. And probably in the crowd, you have many people who are more experienced than I am about the importance of this, but I can say what I know now, that if you are controlling the flow in real time, meaning you are able to decide what will go to the treatment plant or what will be discharged to the rivers, if you can control the flow in real time, you can make sure that the majority of the overflow is actually, I wouldn't say clean, but not polluted. I know that the EPA is looking at very, very carefully now about the move from volumetric control to quality control of the regulation, meaning, yes, it is important how much water or how much wastewater was discharged to the environment, but it's also important what is the quality of them. So Ayyeka now is deeply implementing the remote control gates into our system. So the wavelet, which is controlled, take readings and do all of those beautiful technology stuff, will be able to control your field assets in real time. So we are taking, as we speak, we are working on finalizing the last parts of this solution and connecting the dots, because we believe in collaboration. The gates obviously are not Ayyeka gates, but we are partnering with a company to bring a full solution. And the first gate has already been installed in the US, in Cincinnati. This is the gate. If you see it now, this is the gate that is installed in Cincinnati, and it's shown very promising results in the wastewater management. So we are more than happy to receive inquiries and ideas about how to properly implement it in consent decree scenarios, but also on a small scale scenarios. And the second thing that we are working about, I would say very, very hard, is to combine the expertise of my partner, not myself. My partner have a PhD in computer science and video and signal processing, and to connect it to remote assets. So I'm proud to say now that Ayyeka has the ability to collect visual signals, or let's call it data streams or visual pictures from remote sites by using battery-powered wireless communication and in the harshest conditions. So you can install our solution in the manholes and create two things, or create two benefits. One time is to validate the sensor data, because in many cases, we have a lot of sensors, we have thousands of sensors deployed on a global scale. There is some challenges to validate the sensor data, because you get the readings and you're not sure if it's a real event. Maybe it was triggered by some unexpected, something that moves there. Maybe the blockage is not a blockage, but is some dirt on the sensors. And the request was to provide visual indication or visual ability to save the travel to the site. And this is the second part that the visual camera is saving, is the operational expenditure around the operation. In many cases, by opening a visual stream, you can save the travel to the remote side of the network. It doesn't save every time, but for example, in these videos, you see two videos day and night. So it's a very big gate system. And in some cases, the gates that should automatically be opened at high level, it was built most likely in the 70s and 80s by the Corps of Engineering. And sometimes you have debris that is clogging the gate. So the gate is open, but it never gets closed. Meaning you see that it should open and close, but you have debris, and the debris is literally allowing, in this case, infiltration of river water back to the treatment plants. And the only way to get this type of information is used to be by sending a crew to the site, and after every heavy rain event and every pollution event, send a crew. And now with a few clicks of a button, you have the ability to open your eyes in the field and see remote stuff. And I know it sounds almost trivial, right? All of us, all of you probably is having a smartphone in front of them, either using it now as I speak, or using it later. And you can you have FaceTime and Hangouts and all of the modern technology. But to create visual indication in combination with our sensors, think about, we are not a camera company, we are not a CCTV company. We know how to combine, we call it fusion, right? Sensor fusion, level and flow and visual indication to the same data streams. We believe it will provide a lot of power for the operators and owners to better manage the efficiencies and the compliance around field assets. So again, I will summarize that I will appreciate any kind of feedback directly to me or directly to info@ayyeka.com, because we are looking for ideas and challenges, and we are trying to work with the end users, with the utilities, with the regulators, with the partners that we have, with the big companies, with the small companies. We are looking how to create a better solution that will serve the growing need for management of those field assets.